Hello, everybody, and welcome to Electric City Sentai Denzicaster here on the ECS Network, your weekly walk into the wonderful world of Tokusatsu. I'm your host, Mike, and this week I'm joined by...
Sir William.
Okay, William.
And Sam.
For the record, the Wolverines are playing today, so Will's a little preoccupied. He might not even realize what we just got done watching.
Oh no.
He's aware.
I'm very aware of what we were watching.
So, we just got done watching episodes 15 and 16 of Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Making it.
Yes.
No, I didn't know that was how far in.
Oh, for a second I thought you didn't know it was Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon.
No, I knew that much. I just know what episodes they were.
Unlike last time, I don't have my laptop in front of me, so I couldn't tell you for the life of me the actual titles of the two episodes we watched. We're going to get a brief synopsis on episode 15 from Sam. She's probably not prepared for this, but I think she paid more attention to it than either myself or Will did. So, real brief rundown on what was episode 15, the first one we watched.
I gotta remember which one, because my mind's still fresh on 16. Damn it, no, I'm not prepared. What happened in 15? Give me a hint.
I wish I could.
The Jewel Thieves. Okay.
Yes, the Jewel Thieves.
Sorry.
It was so entertaining that you can't even remember it.
My wife is once again in the back.
It's sad that I remembered it and I just kept my mouth shut.
Yes, that is sad that you kept your mouth shut. You could have bailed the girl out.
I wasn't aware that I needed to take notes. Okay. So.
Yes, there's going to be a test later. I'm sorry.
So the Jewel Thieves. Basically, this episode is mainly about Usagi and Tuxedo Mask Mamoru.
Mm-hmm.
Him. And then we see they're basically going to a auction where they run into some jewel thieves who are stealing Sailor Venus's jewelry, and I forget her real name. It starts with an M.
Monaco.
Monaco. And they try to enlist help, and nobody helps them, so they take it upon themselves to rescue the jewels. And of course, Usagi being Usagi blurts out to Mamoru, "Hey, I'm Sailor Moon." Oh crap! And they cover it so well. They just not at all. It was very awkward and obvious.
Tell us how you really feel.
And one more thing, and we see a budding rivalry between Sailor Mercury and Usagi's best friend Naru.
Yes.
That's from episode 16.
And that continues into 16.
It continues. It starts. It buds.
Yeah.
Hence the word.
At the end of episode 15,
right.
we wind up seeing, for what I would call, for want of a better term, an antlion Yoma. Basically, hole in the earth, people fall into it.
She's
and
French.
Huh?
She's a French Yoma. Because she had the hat, the French hat.
Oh, the beret?
The beret, yes.
Sure.
We'll go with that.
So, Le Lion, or whatever. That was a terrible Inspector Clouseau imitation. But anyway, in episode 16, we see more of the Naru and Amy rivalry over basically who is Usagi's best friend.
Typical middle school girl rivalries.
Yeah, pretty much. But that becomes sort of the prevalency of the episode as it Naru winds up falling into the antlion trap herself. We see it, like I said, at the end of episode 15, we see the beginning, we see the first time it happens, and it looks like it's going to happen to Jupiter, but Mars and Mercury are able to save her. Fast forward into the next episode, and when it happens again, and this time it's just Mercury there, she tries to save Naru, but in her heart she wonders if she really was trying to save Naru, because she has this dislike of her, and she wants Usagi all to herself.
And she's such a terrible person.
Yes, and she's a terrible person. She basically has this internal crisis of, is she a horrible individual or is she not? And she thinks that she's just this terrible person, and that she was not trying her hardest because it was Naru. But then eventually they find the facility, the farm, as Kunzite calls it, where all these people are being held to collect their energy, and professional, and
Sorry.
and we wind up with initially Moon, Mercury, and Mars trying to break through this barrier until Moon runs off and goes, "Oh wait, we do have a fourth member of our team." and runs off to get Jupiter, which makes very little sense when you start to think that they all have cell phones.
Yeah.
Um,
You just call it.
but if she hadn't run off, then we couldn't have had Mercury's breakdown and Mars's essentially bitch please moment.
I was waiting for the backhand.
I love Mars.
I was waiting for Mars. As soon as like the leg stepped into the camera frame, I was waiting for the hand to rise and then bring it the smack it. I'm just saying.
But Mars basically goes, no, it doesn't prove you're a bad person, it just proves you're a person. And the four of them have their Ghostbusters moment as they all four use their powers and cross the streams and destroy the barrier and go and save the day. Although we do see a little more of Kunzite's manipulative ways in the episode as well, as he first tries to use a little word trickery to get Nephrite in trouble with Queen Beryl, and then by the end of the episode, more or less, the vibe I get out of the end of episode 16 is, Nephrite might serve you, Queen Beryl, but I serve Queen Materia.
Yeah.
And we see the beginning of Materia's resurrection, which seems really, really early, considering this is episode 16.
And
So-
he gets stuff done.
And we also see the resurrection of Jadeite. So,
He's back, the blonde.
yes. So, we see that as well. So,
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. In episode 15, we start seeing more of a budding romance. We've had hints of it between Usagi and Mamoru. We've had hints of it, but now it's actually bam in your face. Hey, there's some feelings there, and and I don't know if he liked this or not. It amused him. In episode 16, we basically get to see Usagi's feelings bitch slapped down by Mamoru, who may or may not have a girlfriend. We're not sure. Mysterious female appears, and Mamoru's just like, yeah, I don't know that chick over there. Just keep going. Never mind.
I still say that was a dick.
it was.
Part of me was like, oh, she got her feelings hurt.
Yeah, because
Wait, that was kind of a dick move, actually.
he basically, like, Usagi was taking him cookies to thank him, and he walks out of his apartment building with this other chick, and they freeze when they see each other, and the girl's like, what's wrong? He's like, nothing. Like, he basically just disses Usagi.
Yeah.
Massively.
Like this. So, for initial impressions of these two episodes.
That damn song. Oh,
Tell us how you really feel.
So, that damn song is C'est la vie by Sailor V.
Were you talking about the opening song or the
No.
other song?
No.
The song they were singing for karaoke.
This is the one they say for karaoke.
Oh, yeah, I kind of blocked that out.
you think
I had help to block that out, so there's that.
Was
You
Michigan
think
going
it's
for a
fine?
field goal at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
you think it's finally gone, and then they bring it back? Just
Oh, she finally. Monako does finally get another hit single, apparently.
apparently, not as big as the first one, because I didn't even know about it until we had a flashback of it. And I'm like,
Oh no, it starts playing at one point, and I'm like, oh hot damn, she got another song.
oh.
So maybe they'll just start alternating or something. I don't know. So aside from C'est la vie, what are our impressions, our first impressions of these couple episodes?
Love Mamoru. Well, I don't hate Tuxedo Mask, but he's okay. But love Mamoru.
Yeah, that's something we've discovered is Mamoru is actually a useful character in the show who does
It's more
things.
useful than Tuxedo Mask.
Whereas Tuxedo Mask is a costume that I'm fairly certain is worn by a mannequin that's just handled by remote control at this point. For as much as he
says
gets
a
done.
couple lines, slightly interferes,
Does the dramatic cape flourish?
and then
Yeah.
vanishes off into
Yeah.
wherever. To whence he came.
Just walks down the street. You know.
Basically.
So, yeah, that's my working theory is it's a remote control mannequin. But
Doing great things with automatons, he say.
yeah, so, but yeah, so there's the C'est la vie song. We know we don't like that. What else? Who was that? Okay,
The one who's working
so
and not having fun.
That needs to happen every time someone makes a point. That would be awesome.
so
Just saying, that would be awesome.
anyway,
Because he
I
made a
don't
point.
get paid enough to deal with this.
No, it was like because he made that point, and then it said, "Ding." I was like,
That was
that was actually kind of cool. I'm liking that.
Important point.
I knew it wasn't on. I knew it wasn't.
What else?
Supposed to happen, but
What are your first impressions of these couple episodes, Will?
uh,
Since you've now been here for more Sailor Moon episodes than you want to be, I'm sure, but
Hey, I had nothing to do with it. Not me. Not me. I show up on time, so you can just time your arrival. Coming like 30 minutes later than you normally do.
anyway.
yeah, I got a 70-pound pit in the backyard that says no from time to time.
But he's adorable.
All right, well,
until he runs to the main road and I have to go
Yeah,
get his
That's
ass.
so adorable. That's a pain in the ass. But he himself is adorable.
I don't know. I kind of like the use of Amy a bit more in these two.
Yes, she's a badass now. We're getting there. She's a beast.
yeah, she actually has a physical confrontation with Ioma.
Yep.
So there was some fight choreography, Will.
And she's
Yeah,
kicking butt.
something like that.
They even had her do like the Chun-Li heel stomp.
Yeah.
For those out there who do not know, Will is an aficionado of fighting games, and his favorite character, or one thereof, is Chun-Li. So,
And I did immediately, yes.
what?
Typical male. Okay.
Anywho.
Whoa. How do you figure that?
We're focusing on Sailor Moon. We'll talk about this later.
What you trying to say, Sam?
Just because she shows a bit of leg and has skin tight clothing and is quite pretty.
Big boobed.
Yeah, big boobed. Well, they're all big boobed, but.
Actually, worth noting that she wasn't originally, and in
No,
most
that's right.
incarnations, she's not.
In the games that I played her, she was actually really good to use.
Yeah, no, she's an actual really good character. I was just being a jerk.
Yeah.
Because it's you.
So, anywho, what do you think? What are your first impressions of these two episodes, Sam? Other than the damn song.
That damn song. I'm loving the relationship of, this is the typical female in me. I'm loving the love triangle, not even triangle relationship between Usagi and Marumu. The, potential relationship and then stab you in the back. Well, not even in the back.
Not really like
Yeah,
stab in
like-
the back kind of thing. It was more like
No, she was facing him. He stabbed her in the mouth.
Yeah.
Boom, in the face.
In the face. I feel like they're running out of either budget or ideas on the demon thingies. I forget what they're
Yoma.
because it
Yoma.
seemed like they're using some parts of costumes to make different ones. I think that's the reason why the one in 15 looked
Yeah,
familiar.
episode 15. I was like, haven't we seen this one before?
Well, that doesn't necessarily bother me as much, but that comes from me having watched a lot of this style of show. If you see elements where you sit there and go, oh, wow, that feels familiar, but at the same time you kind of sit there, it makes sense. It's the same people making it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the behind the scenes. I mean, yes, they're just recycling certain elements to save money,
But even in the stories,
but
like,
in the story, it's the same person making all the monsters, so
Yeah.
it makes sense that they would have a similar feel and theme.
it does. It's just they've been so varied with their monsters up until now. Because we had the Cactus Men, we had the Airplane Man, we had they were so random, and then all
That's
of a sudden,
Yeah, I almost wonder if it's a case of them deliberately scaling back some of the wackier designs, because a lot of those designs felt very Super Sentai style and not very Sailor Moonish.
that's true.
Granted, if you've ever watched, we're talking about a TV show that once had like a Muay Thai boxer with angel wings and a goofy ass headgear as a monster, and then another week would have something else, and then the next one would be like I can't even begin to rack my brain. That's the only one that I ever remember because it was a really, really stupid episode. So,
Because that was sorry to interrupt again. That was just in the earlier episodes. That was one of the things that would catch your attention about that episode was what monster do we have this week?
yeah. So there's that. What's something? Sam's already told us what she didn't like. That damn song. So, Will, what's something in here that just made you go ugh, other than the fact that it's Sailor Moon?
She stole it.
Which was?
The song. It really was a song. Oh no, okay. I got to have something a little bit different. Usagi's complete like flub of her stealth roll. That was I was
Sailor
just like,
Moon.
really? Just like, I'm just gonna stand up. And as Sam pointed out, a bright orange jacket and a bright white motorcycle helmet. It was just like, yeah.
Trying to get away from the jewel thieves that she just stole a bunch of jewels from.
Trying to be incognito.
Yep.
Not
Apparently
so
someone
much.
just happened to have a flare so they could smoke about the car. So that was kind of funny. But then it's like, stealth roll. Oh, a 2. You needed a 6. Sorry.
So yeah, and probably the most hackneyed BS part of that whole scene winds up with Sailor Moon run, faceplant.
Yeah, so we had to do the whole horror movie thing too.
Hey, watch. I'm glad she had her helmet because she fell hard.
And then Mamoru to the
and
rescue.
staring at the ground for some reason too.
And then Mamoru to the rescue. Not Tuxedo Mask. Mamoru, because he's more useful.
Yes.
So, something you liked. We've talked about, because I think you got that out there with your fighting and your love triangle and things like that.
Love Triangle and Sailor Mercury just turning into a boss and just.
What do you like, Will?
I like the character development of Amy going forward. Amy and Amy, aka Sailor Mercury.
Mhm.
I like that going forward. I did actually like the idea of the farm, and I did like the
Kunzite?
yeah, Kinsight shows up and basically just lays down the whole thing and like, and
Take it over.
it's like
just
just don't even fight it. Just like step over there and we'll be fine. Just basically.
I'm looking forward to kind of Kunzite's whole arc because he is showing up and it's a very tropey thing to have the troop of bad guys where the one guy shows up and immediately wants to take over. But this show is doing it in a very entertaining fashion. And one of the things that struck me, and I remember I felt the same way this go round that I did last go round. When Queen Beryl is speaking to them at the beginning, and it looks like that Kunzite and Zoisite are going to come to blows, she actually makes a point of going, "We're all on the same side," which is not a very bad guy thing to say. So one of the things you can tell about her is that there's some sort of goal, there's some sort of plan, and she actually does look at these people in some either affectionate way or as part of her team or in some meaningful way. They're not disposable henchmen, which I think is actually a pretty interesting take because you don't get that out of a lot of bad guys. So, all right, what are we looking forward to? Sam?
More involvement of what's Asagi going to do now that Mamoru has basically said you don't matter. Moving on, and then
He didn't say
he
that.
might as well have.
Okay, that's being a little bit more harsh than I was being. I'm just saying. He didn't necessarily just basically he wrote her off in front of somebody else. That, I mean, if he starts doing that to everybody.
For a middle school girl, that's the end of the world. Your crush just dissed you. Your life is over. Moving on.
She didn't even take it that way.
Because the episode ended.
I mean, she didn't take it that way because what she said before the episode ended.
Yeah, it didn't matter anyway.
That didn't matter anyway because she's not involved. There you go. See?
Watch. In the next episode, that's all she's going to be thinking about. She's going to become obsessed with it. Crap, I lost my train of thought. Queen Beryl. And seeing what's going on with her henchman and the new queen. What's going to go.
Queen Materia. Bet you will.
Looking forward to see what Queen Materia looks like in this.
Where she's an amorphous blob in every other version.
Yeah. Just want to see what she looks like in this.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for the with the twist. I'm waiting for the twist
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they know there's
of the night.
at least a twist coming.
Shoulder.
So they don't know how many because I haven't told them. But I'm looking forward to what's coming. They're doing a lot of they are doing a lot of world building even now. 16 episodes in, they're doing a lot of character development and they're doing a whole lot of setup. So and I'm looking forward to seeing some of that stuff start to pay off. So and it should because we are getting real close to halfway through the show. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to seeing reactions on people's faces. So, folks, I think that about wraps us up for this episode of Denzicaster. We want to thank you for joining us. Of course, you can jump over to our Cafe Press store, cafepress.com/ECS Network, and pick yourself up a cool Denzicaster t-shirt. We've got one over there inspired by Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, so pick that up if you're a fan of the show. Also, Sam's going to get one eventually.
I'll
So-
wait for the show.
We've also got our Patreon up and running. Jump over there, patreon.com/ECS Network. You can become a patron for us there. Anything that you purchase, any money we make off of those goes to help the network. We have a new lighting rig here. It's not so new now, but for you guys watching, but it's still new to us. We have a lighting rig here now. There's the tripod that our camera's on. We'd like to get a new camera. That would be nice. But we've got to get 2 more lighting rigs because we got to get one for 8-Star Anime and one for Chopsaki Cinema. So that's going to be the next 2 that we pick up so that they can have better lighting on those shows as well. And so that Chris can quit making a fool out of himself during lighting checks. You guys never actually see that. But
I saw one. It was hilarious.
yeah, I see them because they send me the raw video footage. And you guys might, because we might put together a blooper reel at some point.
Yeah.
But
we don't ever do lighting checks. I just try to put on as much light as possible and just go from there.
so
Which is actually kind of hard, like doing it at Roger's house, because Roger does that.
I've been to his house. There's no lights. So,
There's light. It's just not very much to work with.
Yeah.
Like that.
but there you go. So, of course, we want to thank you for joining us this week. We hope you've had a fun time. And until next time, I'm Mike.
William.
Sam.
And we'll see you next time on Denzicaster.